guys, my name is Sarah. I'm a photographer at Focal Point Studio Photography. Focal Point is located in downtown Farmington and also downtown Plymouth. Focal Point has been in business for over 48 years. We attribute much of our success to photographing families, babies, children, corporate America, and most importantly, high school seniors. A really fun part of our job is working with a lot of the high schools in the area that we help to service and support their yearbooks class, just like yours. Today we want to go over some helpful tips for you guys when you guys get out there and cover a lot of the events around the school. We know that it is hard. You guys have an amazingly important job, and we are so in awe of the product that you guys put together. That is like a true business. You guys should be really, really proud of yourselves. We want to make it a little easier for you and give you some tips that will help you get through the school year. The best part of the yearbooks is that it actually gets better with age. I mean, take a look at these celebrities here. Do you think that, you know, when they got dressed for their yearbook pictures way back when, that they thought that these would be all over the internet? Look at their styles. I mean, Taylor Swift and Ryan Seacrest especially, his is hysterical. Believe it or not, the book that you guys are producing today is something that will be looked on and, you know, brought out at so many different occasions, class reunions, family parties, when friends get together, and it is something that is so special and important that I hope you guys realize that it does mean a lot to many people for years to come. Today, we are going to discuss the equipment that is needed to go out on any job, basic lighting, composition, sports, school activities, and around the school. Okay, let's get into equipment. This is obviously the most important part of what I can teach you today. You want to make sure that when you leave to cover any sort of event that you are prepared. I've been on many jobs as a professional, and I can tell you that unfortunately for some jobs I've shown up and not been prepared, and it is the worst feeling. So I want to help you with that today. So obviously, first and foremost, you want to make sure you have your camera. Make sure that it is a working camera, first of all, when you leave. Some of you may have extra lenses that you're able to attach to your cameras. If you're going to be shooting a football game, you want to make sure that you have a nice zoom lens that can get you to the middle of the field. If you're doing more of little headshots for some sort of group or activity, you might want to bring your little fixed lens. You also want to make sure you have a strap. This is so important because if you're on the sidelines or you're shooting a pep rally and you're being bumped around by people, this camera you want around your neck the whole time. This keeps it safe and close to your body. And you know, obviously these are very expensive and important to your classroom. You also want to make sure you have a flash. If you have an off-board flash, make sure that is packed as well. A lot of you may just use a flash that is right on your camera, and that's perfect too. With that being said, having your flash in your camera also comes batteries. So make sure you bring lots of extra batteries. The flash batteries die quickly when they're sitting in there. You know, we always bring 2-3 extra sets just in case. Also, the camera batteries. Make sure if you are able to have at least 1 or 2 extra batteries that are charged. So after you head back from covering an event, these batteries always go back on a charger so they are prepared and ready for the next person to use. You also want to make sure the cards that you have are workable, that they're clear, they haven't been used by anybody else. Whatever was on this card was already downloaded and these are free for you to use. Again, you want to bring extras. So 1 or 2 extras is always great just in case. And the thing that is probably going to be the most valuable to you as a yearbook class is going to be a yearbook pass. So each of you are provided with a yearbook pass that says yearbook photographer on it with your school name. This gets you into the gates, obviously without a charge, and also gets you down by all the action. So you belong down where you see all of maybe the newspaper photographers or, you know, any other photographer that's covering an event. You belong there too, and this is what gets you nice and close, and this is what is going to make you have better portraits. Lighting. You are going to find yourself photographing events and people in a variety of different lighting scenarios. You may be out on a bright football field on a sunny day. You are going to find yourself in a dark gym at a school dance. And it is going to be up to you to learn how to work your camera and adjust the lighting scenario so you can have the perfect picture. You do have a couple options with your camera. You can choose to change your camera to auto, which means that your camera will take care of setting and changing all of the settings based on what lighting scenario you are in. The other option is to change your setting to manual, which is the M on the top of the camera. And although this is a little tricky, you do have more fun and can get a little more creative when you are able to adjust your camera settings to achieve some really cool, fun shots. There are 3 camera settings that you must know how to change on your camera and be familiar with. The first one is shutter speed. Shutter speed is the measurement of time the shutter is open. This is measured in seconds. ISO is a camera setting that will brighten or darken a photo. And aperture. Aperture is the opening in a lens through which light passes to enter the camera. So basically, it's how big the opening is that light is to pass through and how quickly it travels through is what will make you have the perfect exposure. After being in many of your high schools, I do know that you guys do have some beautiful natural lighting in and around your school. You want to, take some time and walk around your school, figure out where the best lighting scenarios are going to be. It may be in a classroom or down a hallway, towards the front of the school at the entrance. But the best thing you can do is actually bring your subjects to the good lighting. As you can see here, this was during a play rehearsal, a dress rehearsal, and the lighting back in the makeup room was terrible. So this photographer grabbed the subject and the makeup artist and they brought them onto the stage because the lighting was stunning, and you can see what a dramatic, cool portrait this is. When you are walking around and you see some good light coming from a window in the hallway, the best thing you can do is position yourself with the windows to the side of the subject. And this is actually how we photograph our clients in the studio, whether it be with our beautiful window lighting or a big softbox. The best lighting is coming from the side. It's just soft and pretty and adds a little drama. You also want to put the subject with the window facing them, the natural light facing them. As you can see at the top portrait here, the window is to their back and they just become a silhouette. The lighting is coming from behind them, which makes the front of them dark. In this situation, you are going to want to use your flash to pop in some of the good light to balance out the bright light coming behind and into the front here. Especially when you are outside, let's say you're photographing a pep rally or a football game outside, you want to make sure that you try to avoid flare, which flare is the light coming back at the camera. As you can see here, it's so bright behind them, it's canceling out their faces. You can't really tell, who they are. The best thing you can do is flip them around, put that sun towards your subject so it fills in the pretty lighting on their face and shadows, and that the sun goes to your back. If you are unable to do that, you can't move a crowd, then you would want to turn your flash on and you would, same thing, just like the window, fill in that the shadow part with your on-camera flash. When you're exploring your school, you may find a little spot in your library or, like I said, down a little hallway. Take advantage of the natural light sources. These make such dramatic, fun portraits that might not be good for, doing large groups of people, but as you can see here, these are cool little dramatic shots that will be fun to fill on your yearbook pages. When you are using a flash, especially in large group situations, just like this is a halftime show at a football game, you want to move in close. Just remember that your built-in flash on your camera, most of them typically fall off after 12 feet. So as you can see here, they are, this photographer is standing behind another group of people on the portrait to the right, and they needed to get in close, and you can see exactly where that flash fell off. It fell off right before the group of them. This is where you use your yearbook pass and you move in, take your few shots, and then move back. That's what's going to guarantee you the nice shot that you would want to put in your yearbook. On the flip of it, just be aware that when you do move in close, you may have to adjust your flash. If you're on auto, your camera will take care of this for you. If you are shooting manually, make sure you are familiar with your camera and flash settings to adjust for this. When using your flash and you have your subjects to, their back is to a window and your flash filling in, to avoid reflections, take a higher or lower camera angle just to dodge the flash behind them. You also want to try and fill in the holes in the group picture with heads. So bring your subjects closer together to fill in the empty spaces. When photographing in dark light situations, such as this, a high school gym for a dance, make sure to turn on your flash. Just for the look here on the left, so you can see people and faces. You kind of get the whole group shot here. But for an artsy look, again, turn your flash off and see what kind of cool light you can get coming from the DJ booth. Red eye occurs when using a flash. And really the only way to fix it is in post-production, whether it be Photoshop, or I do believe that most of your yearbook programs are able to take care of this for you. Now that we have your lighting down, let's move on to composition. Composition is how a picture is put together. The most important rule of photography is the rule of thirds. An image should be imagined as divided into 9 equal parts by 2 horizontal lines and 2 vertical lines, and that important compositional elements should be placed along these lines or intersections. Here you can see the most action is in the top third of the picture. If you were to center the faces in the middle, it would be nothing but ceiling in the most important part of the picture. Aligning a subject with these points creates more tension, energy, and interest in the composition than simply centering the subject. When you do want to center your subject and make them the focal point of the picture, you would want to fill the frame. As you can see with this cheerleader, she is centered in the top picture here, but there's so much going on that she's not really the focal point of the picture. Once she's zoomed in and fills that frame, she becomes the focal point, the main image here. It's not what's going on in the background. Same with the parade here. They're so far back in that top picture of the parade that you can't tell who's who. You can't really tell what the sign says or what they're even doing. But get in close, walk in close, and take a picture. Even if you have to jump out in front of them, take your shot and then jump off to the side. It's always best to compose the photograph in the camera. This is so that you can avoid cropping later to avoid reducing the quality of your photograph. Another term often used in composition is leading lines. Leading lines is defined as lines that appear in a photograph that have been framed and positioned by the photographer to draw the viewer's eyes toward a specific point of interest. As you can see here in this example, the hurdles are drawing your eye right into the runner here. In these examples, you can see that the pencils lead into the artist's drawing. The legs framing the shot is so cool, and the leading line of the lockers draws you right into the students. It is also important to remember to shoot from many different angles. This adds interest to any of your page layouts. The side view. When multiple people are covering an event, it's best to divide and conquer. It will add interest to your page layouts. If someone is shooting straight into the group, send another student to the side to get the profile shots. Get low. Shoot at a low angle to avoid distracting backgrounds and to make your subjects look larger than life. Or you can take a high angle. Use bleachers, DJ platforms, a chair, or simply have your subjects get lower than you to achieve these views. When photographing large groups of people, direct your subjects into creating multiple levels in order to see everyone's faces. This takes a little bit of coordination, a little bit of bossiness, and actually a loud voice too. But you want to direct them to condense them into a picture. As you can see here in this group, this is a really large group. If they were all spaced out, here you can barely even see their faces, but if they were spaced out even more, you could barely see them. So creating the different levels, making sure people aren't blocking each other's faces, you kind of become a director towards these large group shots. Now that we have some of the basics down, let's get into some activities you may be covering. Let's start with sports. Sports can be fun, fast, and exciting, but they can also be frustrating if you don't know what you are doing. Here are a few general tips for shooting any sporting event. Get as close to the action as possible. Take advantage of your yearbook pass. You belong on the sidelines. Take a lot of photos. Usually our sports photographers take hundreds of shots and only to have a handful turn out. Play with your settings and experiment with lighting and composition. The beauty of digital is that you aren't wasting anything. Try to stand with the sun to your back. Imagine it being a big light source to the field and your subjects. Don't forget about the sidelines. There's a lot of action and emotions to capture. There are also injured kids and kids who may never get into a game, but these kids deserve to be recognized too. Never use flash for sports. You really have to open up and allow for the movement, and your flash can't sync to those settings. Anticipate the shot. Sports is so fast-paced. Be in position and be ready. Let's get into where you should be standing at the events to capture the best shots, but also staying safe and out of the way. We tried to put together a few diagrams of different sporting event, field, and court scenarios. The little camera here is where you should be standing, and the picture coordinating with it is the shot you would get if you were standing in these positions. We're going to go over these pretty quickly, but we will give your teacher a PDF file of these. Maybe before you head out to an event you're covering, take a peek at these diagrams as a little refresher to help you get the shots that you're looking for. Baseball and softball. Remember, there are a lot of positions to be covered here. It is important to move around. Don't just stand in one place. And please don't forget the base runners. Basketball. Shoot vertical for most of the game. You want to make sure that you're not cropping out the basketball on a jump. You don't want to crop out feet. You want to be able to see how high someone's jumping. That's what makes a cool shot. Golf. Stay as far away as you can. You will definitely want to be using your zoom lens for this sport. The other thing is that heads are often down, so make sure you get at least a profile for tagging purposes. Swim and dive. Arrive early to get photos during warm-ups. This way you can ask swimmers to do a lap for your shots. Make sure you move around as well to cover the different strokes. Tennis. Make sure your shutter speed is fast enough so the tennis ball isn't blurry and the players' faces are sharp. Shutter speed should be at least 500. Also, make sure to get the racket and the ball in the shot. Track and field. This is another sport that is great to show up early to, so you can get them warming up. Make sure to get variety, because there are a lot of events going on at the same time. Volleyball. The best tip we have for you is follow the players, not the ball. Volleyball is so fast-paced, the ball travels back and forth so quickly that if you are anticipating following the ball, you're most likely going to miss the shot. So stay in position and wait for the ball to get to the player. Soccer and lacrosse. Don't forget about the goalies. They may never get a chance to be in contact with the ball during a game, so make sure you take a few shots of them as well. Football. Make sure you capture the game as well as the cheerleaders, the crowd, and the halftime events. There is so much going on at one time at football games. It may be best to have a few people to cover the event. Another great tip, stay until the end to capture the victory celebrations. Remember to capture the special moments in the crowd, on the field, and on the sidelines. These are images that people are going to look back on for years to come and be so happy that you were able to capture that moment. There are a couple sport don'ts. The first one being what we call game face. Game face, as you can see here, is when a player who is so into their move and their play that they are making a crazy looking face. And although it's unavoidable, I don't think anybody would want to be put into the yearbook looking like this. And that is why it is so important to take multiple shots. Another sport don't would be only catching plays from behind or with their heads down. As you can see, these will be really hard to tag somebody in. So you want to make sure that you're moving around, capturing the best angles. And again, we can't stress enough, take a ton of pictures. Aside from sports, there are so many other school activities that need to be included in the yearbook and covered by your staff. Let's get into some of them. Concerts. There are multiple instrumental and vocal concerts throughout the year. When shooting a concert, turn your flash off. It is distracting to those on stage as well as the audience. It is also important to get there as early as you can and reserve an aisle seat. That way you can quietly and easily move around. Plays and musicals. The best tip we have for you is ask the director if you can photograph at a dress rehearsal. This way you can move around freely. Pep rallies. You want to shoot some wide shots to show the size of the crowd and the action, but also getting close to show the emotions. Dances. Make sure to get candid dancing shots along with posed group shots. You have to be aggressive and pose some of your shots. When getting action shots of dances, there tends to be a lot of backs to the camera. Tap them on the shoulders and have them turn around and pose for you. Do this for both fast and slow songs, as well as the kids sitting off to the side. Graduation. When photographing a speaker, make sure to take multiple shots. Photographing speakers is hard. They tend to have that same funny game face mouth, so shoot a lot of shots. There are a few definite don'ts that you must be aware of when submitting images into the yearbook. First and foremost, make sure there is nothing inappropriate going on. These group of guys here are holding up, hand signs. What may be a fun and friendly gesture in one culture could be very insulting into the next, so just avoid them altogether. Funny faces. This girl in the middle here, she's not going to want to look back in 20 years and have that image haunting her in her yearbook. If you do a funny shot, make sure there's a little cute shot too. You also want to make sure before you submit any images that there's nothing inappropriate going on in the background. Not that it's inappropriate, but this girl's pulling up her dress, and that's definitely not something that you would want to put in. It looks like she's grabbing herself. You could fix this picture here because it is actually really cute by just cropping in a little bit tighter, or just wait until she passes and grab another shot. You want to capture the excitement. Your goal is to have your school's events documented as such a fun time. As you can see here, the good shot is everybody interacting and yelling and cheering and having fun. You don't want to submit this bad photo here where everyone just looks like they're staring and there's nothing exciting going on. You want to represent your school as a really fun time. Around the school. Last but not least, don't forget about the little things that were a part of your life for 4 years, such as teachers, hallways, classrooms. The best thing you can do is find out when teachers are doing a fun, cool lesson, such as dissecting a frog or dressing up for presentations, and visit their classrooms on these days. In order to do this, you must be aggressive but polite. You don't want to disrupt their class, but you also want them to let you in. So the trick is, knock on their door. As you are walking into their classroom, introduce yourself. Say you promise not to disrupt and make your way to the back of the classroom, preferably by a window. Take a few shots, then get out. A cool, nice teacher may do something fun for you, like this chemistry teacher doing a fire experiment. Get kids interacting and actively listening in class. Don't forget to capture everyone's favorite classroom, like this classroom where the Spanish teacher collected piñatas. This is something everybody in school knew about and talked about, and it's just something to remember later on. Shots of objects around the school make great page fillers. Play with your angles, lighting, and composition. These art pieces here were award winners, and they deserve to be in the yearbook. Don't forget to capture current trends in technology, because believe it or not, one day you will look back on and laugh at what you once thought was so cool. Just like these images here, the clothing styles, the shoes, those are important. The calculator, now everybody uses their cell phone. The headphones, these headphones here are out of style already now that everyone has AirPods. And look at the computers. All right, guys, well, that is it for today of Yearbook Photography 101. We covered a lot of information. I hope that you found this helpful. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to contact us. We have supplied here our email, our Instagram, our phone numbers, so please reach out if there are any questions about equipment or shooting any specific events. We are here for you. We want to help you. We are so excited to see the end product at the end of the year because we go to so many of your events and see all of you guys working so hard, and it's so exciting for us. We hope that these are future photographers in the making as well. So best of luck to you. Have fun. That is the most important part about this whole thing. This is an experience that you guys, are going to learn so much at, and you guys are, become such a tight little group because you guys work so hard together to produce such an amazing product that is going, like I said before, you guys don't realize how many times those yearbooks are going to be pulled out by your whole entire class for years to come. We wanted to thank you guys so much for all of your hard work, that we would like to gift all of the high school seniors in the yearbook class a $50 gift card towards your order. So as you can see, we do some pretty fun things here. We want to make each session special and specific to you. So we hope that we see you guys soon.